welcome to our 4th grade music program. We want to thank all of our families for coming out on this rainy night tonight. You're in for a real treat, and we're so proud of this program because it's a great example on how we intermix our academics with our fine arts. Everyone in here is going to get a nice history lesson tonight. I'm sure you already know, but it's George Washington's birthday, and that may have been the theme of our program. So thank you to Mrs. Lumley, our 4th grade teachers, Mrs. Lumley's mother, who always chips in and helps us, and thank you all for coming. Thank you to the students for working so hard, and I'm going to turn it over to our music teacher right now, Mrs. Lumley.
Tonight, you're going to know some of these songs that we would love for you. If you hear a song you know, we would love for you to sing along with us. I have been blessed that typically up until about a year ago, my grandmother still came to all of my kids' performances. And so just a couple of months ago, she passed away, but this program reminded me of the sacrifices that so many people have made. And my aunts are even here tonight, so that's really neat. But as I put this program together and kind of weaved it together, because it's parts of different programs, and it's a little bit longer than some of the others, but there were like 60 kids that wanted speaking parts, so they all got them. But I thought about the sacrifices that have been made for us to get to live life the way we want. And I remembered hearing that my grandfather did not see his firstborn son until a year later when he came back from World War II. So my grandmother had her first son, and he was away at World War II. And I just thought of those sacrifices, and all of you have stories like that of someone in your family that has sacrificed so much. And so I hope that this just brings about some thankfulness in your heart for where and how we get to live our lives.
Martha, Martha, did Mr. Adams leave his papers on the hall table?
They don't seem to be here. Are you sure they aren't here? Well, here they are, dear. Wherever you and John were going over them.
Oh, my word. What could ever be the matter with me?
Why, George, you're being a bit distracted. It's quite understandable. It's not every day that one is made the first president of a new nation, the United States of America.
Glad as I can see that we finally established this new nation. Still, I worry about its future.
Why, George, you shouldn't be worried. All the people are overjoyed that we are no longer accountable to the King of England. We're a free nation.
Yes, at this moment we have our freedom, but will future generations preserve this precious gift? That's what worries me.
George, please don't worry. Why don't you take a little nap? You really need some rest.
Yes, I do feel drowsy, but Martha, the struggle is really not over. The real test of preserving our freedom lies ahead.
Rest, dear, rest. I'll wake you in an hour or so, and we'll have a nice cup of tea.
I can't help wondering about our country's future. Will the people care enough to make sure their freedom is not lost? What will become of our nation? What lies ahead? What lies ahead?
Mr. President, we can answer your questions.
But who are you? What are you?
We're children from America's future. We've come to answer your question about our country's fate, but first we want you to answer some of our questions.
Well, the question that I am concerned about is freedom. But now that I see you have more immediate questions. Like, why do we name life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness or just like that?
Sir, we are free to dress as we please. The children in America's future enjoy the many battles won by you for them and their founders.
Now can we ask you a few questions? We've been studying the events leading up to the American Revolution. Can you give us the inside scoop on some of the major reasons that the war began?
Well, children, have you heard the term taxation without representation?
Why, sure. That is when Great Britain continued to tax the colonies more and more without letting them have any say in the laws and decisions that the Parliament made.
Were there any other reasons? that you could share with us, Mr. Washington?
Oh yes, the taxation problem goes even further than this. Have you heard of the French and Indian War, children?
Well, yes, we have been learning a song in music class called Yankee Doodle. We were told that the British would sing it during the French and Indian War to poke fun at the colonial soldiers because of how disheveled and simply they were dressed.
Later, during the American Revolution, the colonists adopted this song as their own and changed the lyrics to fit their current situation, as if they were getting back at the British for ever poking fun at them. And that's satire at its best.
If you would like to sing that song, would you join us, Mr. President?
But I'm confused, Mr. Washington. Weren't the British helping the colonists fight the French over land and trading rights? Yes, the war was fought to decide if Britain or France would be the strong power over North America. The war began with conflict over land.
Now I remember, Great Britain expected the colonists to help pay for the debt that was accumulating during this war. So along with the regular taxes, the colonists were already paying. Now they were expected to pay for the debt of the war too.
You've got it, children. It became increasingly clear that we needed to establish our own independence, free of all laws and taxes that the King of England has been heaping upon us.
Look who's here. Why, it's Thomas Jefferson.
Yes, you're correct. I just wanted to come by and tell you a little more about the establishment of our independence. But George, who are these children? And why might I ask why they wear such clothing as this?
They're children from America's future, and come to tell us what the United States looks like in their lifetime.
Wonderful. Nice to meet you, children. In 1776, the leaders of the 13 colonies met in Philadelphia. John Adams persuaded the committee to have me write the Declaration of Independence, which stated our independence from Great Britain and told the reasons why.
We're learning a song about the very document Mary's to you for you?
Oh,
Yes.
oh yes, please do. Washington here asked me to make the first American flag with stars and stripes. The flag was nicknamed Old Glory and proudly flew as a symbol of freedom to inspire the patriots to keep fighting. Through the years, the Granville flag has flew in times of peace and war. It represents the American values we hold so dear.
When you know it, Miss Lumley is also teaching us a song about our flag, and it happens to be called the Granville flag. We even say the Pledge of Allegiance in this medley, but that wasn't written until years later in 1892. Would you like to hear our songs?
Why sure, kids, we would love to hear the songs that are prepared. It's amazing that the flag that Mr. Washington asked me to make is still honored almost 250 years later.
Oh dear, why are these people being driven from their homes?
They were not forced from their homes, Mr. Jefferson. It was their choice to move westward. It was you that once said our nation's future depended on westward expansion. This is what you're witnessing now.
I decided to move west when I received letters from my friends and family members telling me about their new life on the frontier. I would have the opportunity to buy more land if I moved westward, and I felt a fresh start was just what my family needed. We are excited about the opportunity that lies ahead.
It is their choice to move westward. Our growing nation needed more food and more resources. And these pioneers helped our country to extend until we expanded from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. In 1803, the Louisiana Purchase took place, almost doubling the size of our country. But of course, you know all about that because it was one of your greatest accomplishments as president, Mr. Jefferson.
Yes, and by 1840, almost 7 million Americans had migrated westward in hopes of securing land and being prosperous. And wouldn't you know it, we even have a song
song about our expanding country. Could we sing it for you?
Sure, kids. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that red highway, I saw above me that endless highway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
I'm so proud. Just think of it. A young and strong nation that extends across this vast continent, from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yes, Mr. Jefferson, those are exciting times. But unfortunately, there came a tragic period, a civil war that set state against state and brother against brother.
How can this be when a nation is free? How can it be divided against itself?
There was a conflict. Some of the states believed that each individual state should have the power to make its own decision over such issues as slavery. They were called the Confederates.
Other states believe these issues should be decided by the central government. These states are called the Union.
During the war, each side adopted their own song to rally their troops together. Dixie became popular with the Confederates during the Civil War, while When Johnny Comes Marching Home was written by Patrick Gilmore, the official bandmaster of the Union Army. Isn't it interesting how music can play such a crucial part in America's history?
Thank you for sharing these songs. But tell me more. What happened? What was the outcome of this terrible war?
Because of another great president, all of our people eventually gained their freedom. Let's see what happens.
407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war.
Who is this man and where is he speaking?
That is President Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president. He is speaking at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. His speech, though very brief, is known by every school child in our time. Let's hear him again now.
That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth.
Heroes fast before the wounds of the Civil War healed. In time, all Americans stood as one.
our country became one of the strongest nations. Children, this is excellent news, but I don't understand. How can after such a terrible war to become one of the world's greatest nations?
That's easy to answer, Mr. President. We had help from people all over the world. Maybe if you look into the future with us, it'll help you better understand. Tonight's lesson will begin with a few questions of the history of the country which you are about to become a citizen of. Question 1. Who was the father of our nation? Yes. The father of our country is George Washington. The father of our country? I always wanted a big family, but... Shh! Please be quiet during class session. Who was the president during the Civil War? Yes.
Abe Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln was right. I am so proud of you, class. You have learned so much about the history of our country. To conclude tonight's lesson in your best English, can you tell me why you came to America?
Mr. Washington, you are honored as the father of our country and loved by school children everywhere, especially on the third Monday of February. And what's so important about that day, may I ask?
Well, sir, your birthday is on February 22nd and Mr. Lincoln's is on February 12th. In 1971, President's Day is moved from your birthday to third Monday, February in an attempt to give more nation workers a 3-day weekend. We are both you and President Lincoln on a special day.
I just remembered today's your actual birthday, so happy birthday. What a great day to have this program.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, George Washington. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha!
Thank you. What a festive song, especially that cha-cha-cha part. The school children are the only ones who aren't in this turn. The adults in the classroom are people from all over the world that came to be a citizen of the USA.
Yes, they work hard learning the day, learning to speak English, and studying the history of my country. In fact, Mr. Washington, there are many amazing immigrants that have come to America, contributed many great things. Here's an immigrant from Russia. Let's meet him now.
I am humbled to say I'm considered one of the greatest songwriters in America's history. I was born in Russia but moved to New York with my family when I was a child. I penned the song God Bless America to describe the beauty of this great land and its celebrated state.
And wouldn't you know it, we just happen to know that song too. Do you see a pattern here? We seem to have a song to go along with every history lesson in this program. Please sing with us.
Contribution. He wrote the musical, This Is the Army, which raised 10 million for the Artist Emergency Relief. Looks like we have another visitor. This man's from the country of Hungary. Let's learn about a few of his contributions.
My name is Joseph Pulitzer. As a young man, you could find me in the slums of St. Louis. However, I became an American citizen, worked hard, and became an excellent speaker, writer, and editor. I became the owner of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and became a leading National Guard for the Democratic Party. I crusaded against corruption in big businesses and helped keep the Statue of Liberty in New York.
Can you believe that today, over 100 years after his death, the Pulitzer Prizes are awarded every year, 21 categories? What a contribution this man has made to the United States. You see, Mr. President, to build a better life. And so they showed their gratitude by working hard, and so our nation grew and prospered.
That is most gratifying. It seems as my worries about the future were ill-founded.
As we mentioned earlier with Irving Berlin, more storms lay ahead. During the next 40 years, our country was involved with 2 horrible world wars. A tragic number of young Americans died fighting for the freedom of this great country.
I'm so thankful to learn that our people held firm to the founding principles of our country.
Yes, we are also grateful for that. But Mr. President, you better hang on to your seat. In the next few years, the wealth of our nation grew quickly as technology exploded. In transportation, we invented automobiles and flying machines that took us quickly around our own country in a little year.
Flying machines? Why? I can hardly believe it.
As you'd be happy to know, the military has grown through the years and become the strongest force in the world. As you know, the U.S. Army, Navy, and Marines was established in 1775 with the invention of the airplane. The U.S. Air Force was established in 1947.
And wouldn't you know, we just happen to know each of our military branches theme songs. Do you have time to hear us sing those songs for you now?
If you have served in the United States military, please stand when you hear your branch's theme song so we can honor you.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the stars. Down we fly, spreading the flame from under, off with one terrible roar. We live in pain, or go down in flames, for nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. Over hill, over dale, as we hit the dusty trail, and the caissons go rolling along. In and out, hear them shout, counter marching right about, and the caissons numbers loud and strong. So wherever we go, you always know that the caissons go rolling along. Keep them rolling as the caissons go rolling along. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores and sea. First we fight for rights and freedom, and to keep our honors clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines. Anchors aweigh, my boys. Send me out to sea through swirling foam until we meet once more. Here's wishing you a happy voyage home.
Thank you for helping me see a glimpse into the future. I'm so excited to see what a strong nation this country has continued to be. But it seems as if I have one more question. I can't help but ask about the stars on the flag. Why so many?
As you know, settlers moved westward. People continue to inhabit this great land. Now there are 50 United States there and 50 stars. Do you have time for just one more song? It just happens to be a song that celebrates all 50 states that came from only 13 original colonies.
United States from 13 original colonies. 50 stars in the flag that
our country great are the great ideas about freedom, equality, and brotherhood, which you and the other founders of our nation established as the basis for our government.
Yes, Mr. President, that's the main reason we came to visit you on your birthday, to say thank you for all the great ideas and the sacrifices you made to establish this country.
Yes, we are forever grateful.
These are indeed precious gifts. Freedom, equality, brotherhood, precious gifts, precious gifts.
George, wake up! You must have been dreaming. I kept hearing your muddled words and all sorts of strange songs. Come on, I have your tea already.
Martha, I had the most wonderful dream. The kids of America's future grew up in a free and prosperous land, and their ancestors came from all around the world to establish one of the world's greatest nations.
Well, you seem rested and revived. I knew a little rest will make you feel better. Are you glad you listened to me, George?
In America's history, we have learned that our forefathers gave their all to provide us with a new nation and freedoms we now enjoy. In America's history, we have learned there's also a place for you and me. Each of us can make a difference by living the laws of our Constitution and becoming involved in our communities and states. We're so grateful you came tonight. We want to share one final song for you.
Thank you to all of those that have served. And a big thank you to Mrs. Lumley, Mrs. McKeever, Mrs. Francis, Ms. Williams, and Mrs. Hubbard, the fourth grade students, for giving us an opportunity to thank them for serving our wonderful country. Thank you, fourth graders. I am so proud of you. You have put on an amazing performance. Thank you and have a wonderful evening. We are going to students to one parent. So if you please don't mind, just to send one parent down to pick up your student. Have a wonderful evening.